Mr. Happy did get to. He didn't get to sit down. He got to.
Well, he did sit down.
He was sitting down.
I mean, I'm sure he was. But
he had to type up his questions.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this was an email exchange interview.
He doesn't have like an assistant that does that for him?
Oh, that's too bad. We've got grunts that do that kind of shit.
Yeah, we have a Scalia.
That's right.
Yeah. We do?
Yeah, mostly.
You've typed up the majority of the questions for interviews that we do, yeah.
It happens a lot.
I added one the other day.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Very helpful.
And
Thank you for
I've actually started asking other people. I'm like, hey, we're doing this interview, and this is what we're interviewing about. Can you think of any questions you'd like to ask? And that's actually working out.
Okay.
Oh, like other people outside?
Yeah, like I'm totally outsourcing.
Well, every other company does. Why not Limit Break Radio Incorporated? Yes, it is an email interview.
So, all right. And Mr. Happy got to email back and forth, got to get some questions answered by Yoshi P.
He did.
And some of them are pretty interesting.
Do we want to do like one of us is Mr. Happy and the other one's Yoshi?
Oh, my God, yes.
I call dibs on Mr. Happy.
Okay. Who wants to be...
I think it's got to be a Scalia.
Yeah, it can't be Juxta because it would inevitably end up being racist.
So racist.
What?
Stop. No, don't even.
I will give you a chance to be Mr. Happy if you want.
What race is Mr. Happy?
The improv starts now.
You blew it. You blew it.
What? That's a question.
Wow.
You've seen Mr.
Holy
Happy
shit.
before.
Holy
Doesn't
shit.
mean I can understand his race at a glance. Race is a
He's a Lalafell. I'm pretty sure he's a Lalafell.
You got to meet... Oh, no, that's right. When we were at FanFest, only me and Nero got invited to the special content creators only party.
Oh, yeah, I heard that was a great party.
I was there, you idiot. You weren't there. You left.
No, he wasn't there, was he?
No, he wasn't.
No, it was just me and you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
I think you were sleeping.
We got to kick it with Koji Fox and...
Oh, that?
No.
Oh,
Now we're just making shit up. Now we're just making shit up.
Oh, okay.
Got him going.
Yeah, you would have kept me going forever.
Okay, all right. Are you ready,
Sure.
Yoshi? Okay.
All right. Well, hang on. First of all, I mean, this is really. I know we're being sarcastic, but I do want to say that this is really cool that Yoshi P did. Do an interview with Mr. Happy. I mean, Mr. Happy is obviously one of the most recognizable names in FF14 media. And
Would you say he's a community leader?
No.
Community
I don't.
figure.
No, don't put that expectation on him. That's not fair. That's not fair.
Community personality.
He is.
Rhyming.
He is that. Yes.
Rhyming.
And it is very, very cool that Yoshi P would give him time. I think that is very cool. So, all right, now let the making fun of begin.
I would never
Make it funny, at least. Never make it funny.
There been any discussion? He's typing this, guys. Regarding
Can we maybe not do it as typing?
Oh, okay.
We get it.
Have there been any discussions regarding adding more bosses to the 8-man raids? Currently, in case you did not know, Mr. Yoshida, director of the Final Fantasy XIV game, 4 per tier.
Doko de nandesu?
All right, Juxta, you get to be Koji Fox.
Koji!
Did you just ask what am I? I think you asked what am I.
Yeah, I think I did.
The yelling for Koji part was the best.
Oh my god.
All right, so he says,
Hi.
he says, firstly, I want to thank you for always supporting Final Fantasy XIV through your streams and other platforms. Unfortunately, we do not have any plans to add more bosses to the raid series that are added with each tier. The reason being that creating 4 bosses is the most we can do if we are going to keep the current level of quality and adhere to our update schedule. I believe that sacrificing either the release timing or quality will lessen the excitement that these raids offer to players. So while maintaining our status quo, we are hoping to add some sort of new high difficulty challenge for the odd numbered patches patches such as 4.1 and 4.3.
See, I think that
Could
this
you
is
be any more vague about that?
well. I think it's a little bit disappointing to hear Yoshi P say that they're sticking to the status quo, especially for these 8-man raids, because I think that Mr. Happy is right that there is a monotony to the rating structure at the moment, and I think maybe even less than I think maybe the question may have been interpreted as, well, maybe could we see a 5 boss? And I don't think that that's necessarily what's wanted, but I think more dynamics in the way
Would help at the very least.
that, yeah, because I mean, like, for, and I think everyone made a joke of, what was it, turn 3 in Binding Coil of Bahamut?
Yeah,
that was a waste.
Speed run.
But the thing is that it was, like, it added
It was different.
It added a sense to the zone too.
It
Like you
did.
felt like you were actually going down this
Right.
area to the next area. So it gave us a more sense of world building.
Yeah, and I think maybe not necessarily even dynamics in fights, but even just like, because in Alexander there was like barely any trash packs. You really didn't have a sense of space or where you were or what if what you were doing was having some kind of impact.
Especially because the coolest thing about this is the fact that we are literally wandering through a giant
Inside of him.
Alexander.
Yeah.
And I think it would be cool to actually when you do the normal modes, you kind of feel that as you go through the trash packs, but it's not like it was with Coil, and I feel like we're just missing that sense of what Alexander on this massive scale was supposed to be.
And after hearing this response to what I want Final Fantasy XIV more than anything else to have isn't even anything content related at this point. Like, Yoshi, what I want you to do for us is get whoever your boss is to just give you more people. That's honestly
that's all
what
they need.
you need. You need more
Yep.
people.
I mean, that's what I got from this too, is they basically said we don't have the staff to do this and keep the updates on time.
Yeah, I mean, I am happy to hear that he wants to add in the high difficulty challenge in 4.1 and 4.3. That's
What
something
does
we've
that
heard.
mean?
We don't know. We've been hearing him talk about doing something in the odd number
Right.
of patches for a while. I'm curious to see what that ends up becoming and what the reward is that comes out of that. So I'm glad that, like, I was very worried when I read this question that it was going to be just. I was very worried. I was very worried that when I read this, it was just going to kind of like maybe reset that and just like, no, we're going to try and stick to what we had in the last expansion and not make mention that there would be something different.
Right.
Mr. Happy goes on to ask, in World of Warcraft, the Mythic Plus system gives standard dungeons more replayability. If you're unfamiliar, it allows players to rerun dungeons with more difficult enemies and random modifiers such as more health or spawning more enemies in exchange for more powerful loot. Would you ever consider adding a similar system? And if not, would you give players more options to modify their dungeon/raid experience similar to minimum item level and unsynced dungeons?
Really happy to hear Happy asking all these rating-centric questions. That's
Because
nice.
I would also like to point out, though, Mr. Happy, that Yoshi went undercover at BlizzCon, so I'm not sure he knows stuff.
Well, no, but
Well, that was setting up the question,
Yeah.
so people who don't go undercover. at this kind.
stop being shitty.
Yeah, you piece of shit.
We are currently exploring ways to add challenges for players by increasing available play options with additional rewards for playing with limitations, such as playing with a set minimum item level or perhaps utilizing the unsynced dungeon function that we currently have in game. Since we are currently wrapped up in 4.0 related tasks, implementation of these ideas would have to take place sometime during the 4.x series of updates. However, we are thinking about adding in mechanics that will add new layers of enjoyment for players through the existing dungeons once again. First, it is likely to become something along the lines of challenging yourself to a dungeon with your adventurer squadron. So they are going to do something with those guys.
So
Eventually.
But I really just want a challenging dungeon for 4 people. I don't want something I can just duty finder.
But again, look, all of this shit is moot unless the rewards are worth it.
There's a reason to do it beyond just, all right, you can do it now.
beyond just their pride and
Exactly. Exactly. And I think that has been FF14's most glaring problem as the game has continued to age.
Orchestrion roles.
Is that there is simply no deviation from the gear structure, and subsequently, these kind of like off the path things that we get that are meant to be challenging and have some kind of lateral reward don't mean anything, especially if 3 or 6 months later that reward is fucking useless, just like everything else you just had. So, unless you really like the look of it, what reason do you have to go into Palace of the Dead right now? Outside of like XP for a job? Honestly.
What if in the next cycle, your animal weapon, if you want to take it past the current, where the cap would be, you have to do these limited things. Like you have to do it in with minimum eye level or things like that. That's where those kinds of items drop.
Make it hard. Like
Hard,
so that not everybody can do it easily. I don't know. Like I'm still on I realize my group is behind on Palace of the Dead. I have a group at 170 or something, and I feel like that just getting to 200 is it's a cool accomplishment. I just don't think there's enough motivators behind it. Hence why I'm kind of stagnant.
Yeah, me too. We got up to
However,
like 170
it's a really
or
fun
180.
challenge because if you die, you go all the way back to 51 or some bullshit. It's awesome. I just feel like now. Why should I do it?
And you're right. That's a prime example of it because that is an event that is fun to play, fun to do. But at the end of the day, you get to 200. There's not really any reason to get to 200.
My favorite
bragging
event.
rights.
My favorite event in probably all of FF14 has actually been Palace of the Dead, and I got damn close. We got to 170 or 180. We got really, really close, and then we just stopped for the night and just
Never
went back
That's
to
what we
it.
did too. Yep.
But and most of that is a problem where there's not that thing that keeps driving you to come back.
There was an earring, I think.
Yeah, fire earring. That's unique there.
An earring and then an orchestrion scroll. That's what you get for getting
a hairstyle
200.
that comes from the top few floors too. You can get, but it's
I think
really
the hairstyles
random.
from everywhere.
There's just nothing that motivates you to go get it done.
Yep.
And yet, cool shit gets added to the cash shop every once in a while. I'm just saying. Look, I'm not saying that the cash shop is bad, but what I am saying is that if we're not being rewarded through our events in the game properly, yet every once in a while there's something cool that pops up on the cash shop. Well, doesn't that send a really weird mixed message to your community?
Well, when it takes a half a year to create one of those dresses, they have to be able to pay for all that development.
How long? How can male avatars wear the bunny outfit yet?
That's going to be in cash shop because
that's
we have to be able to pay for it.
You douchebag.
Why do you gotta bring that up all the
It's
time?
been like 9 years.
I know. We've been asking it from year one.
It's ridiculous.
They're working on it. The initial reveal of Stormblood's features listed challenging new dungeons. Will these dungeons be more difficult than the current ones?
No. Sorry.
Boo.
I do think that in terms of difficulty, players may feel that the new dungeons are quite different from what they have experienced up until now due to the gameplay changes we'll be making.
Not the question.
Re-examining of skills for all jobs, implementing shared actions by roles, and raising the level cap. The difficulty level settings of the dungeon itself will not be that different from how it is currently, and whatever difference you feel will mostly be due to the change from what you have grown accustomed to thus far. Just as we have been doing up until now, we will prepare challenges players can enjoy after they've capped their level.
You know what?
Yoshi, that's such a bullshit answer.
Yoshi is a Genji main because his deflection skills on point.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, that's not
it's
even.
gonna feel harder because of our battle changes, so please get used to it.
And remember they said that. I'm sorry. Remember they said the same shit about Heaven's Word. They're like, oh well, your rotation's gonna change so much, it's gonna feel like you're playing a new job.
Yeah,
No.
I mean,
bullshit.
I feel like this
unless you were a
might
black
actually
mage.
get to that point depending on how much they
Or a
change.
bard.
But even still, that's artificial difficulty. That's not real difficulty.
I'm thinking Yoshi is confusing difficult with unfamiliar. Like, just because something is new to you, that doesn't make it hard. It just means
Especially
there's a
when you
learning
look
curve.
at the players who are either already are hardcore or want to become hardcore, they're going to spend the first week doing nothing but learning how to be perfect at this, and then they're going to want challenging content to go with it.
Yep.
It's like, dude, it's like Dark Souls, right? Like the first time you go into a new area in Dark Souls, or you start venturing past the, a bonfire that you're not familiar with, you're gonna die a lot. Like you're gonna die like a whole bunch. But once you know that path, you know what I mean? Like.
Yeah.
What you've got to do to get there becomes very clear.
That's the same for every single game. In the Palace I just did in Persona 5, it was tough slogging to the end of it.
It's a question of how much does the game punish you in the fail state.
Right, because it took me forever to get to the end of it, and then when I went back the next day, just to go back to the end to get the treasure or whatever, boom. I took the exact same path, fought everything, but because I knew where I was going and what things were weak to,
So much of it becomes muscle memory over time, and
that isn't challenge.
Well, that's like we were doing raiding the other night, and it's just like, of course, the fight's easier because we have Echo now, but at the same time, the mechanics that once seemed freaking impossible are now piss easy.
And that has nothing to do with Echo. It's all to do with just learning the mechanics.
It's just you know where to run and you know when you're safe to run there, and it's like it just gets easier over time. But like that's not what made A12S difficult. It's just like the mechanics actually were. There was a learning process to them, but it was just being uncomfortable.
Next question. Palace of the Dead was met with a lot of praise, though the objective for each floor is always the same. Defeat the enemies until the exit appears. Have you considered adding a variety of objectives for the next deep dungeon?
That's a good question.
I cannot clearly state when we will implement the next part in the Deep Dungeon series, but we are planning to include new elements, of course, and also create one where there will be a variety of objectives, places, and playstyles. We are reading everyone's feedback, and so I would love for everyone to wait for more information on this.
Okay, whoever's job it is to listen to our show, first of all, I'm sorry, but if you take any bit of evidence or any bit of anything back to your bosses
from this episode,
from Limit Break Radio in particular, Deep Dungeon is probably your strongest asset right now. Don't fuck that up, but make it better. Make it better. You're on the right track.
When you go back and look at Nigel Isle from 11, everything except fucking lamp lighting was so much fun. And I think if they can go that, add more variety, add different play styles, different improvements on top of that, it could be their best content.
Also, rewards.
Yeah, and rewards. It is nice to hear that them talking about adding in new objectives. That's awesome.
Yeah, I do like that. And I've got to give Happy credit. These are pretty good questions, even though
he's deflecting every single one.
Yeah, Yoshi is sidestepping every one of them.
Square Enix does.
They're fundamentally good questions.
Yeah. Like, these are the questions we always say people should ask when instead they ask, when are we getting Summoner Glimmers?
And this is why people don't ask them. Because they know they're not going to get a straight fucking answer on it anyway.
Yeah. With the recent relaunch of the Diadem, players are wondering if Eureka will function similarly. What key differences will exist to differentiate Eureka from exploratory missions?
All right. He says, no, we will use play data and feedback from the relaunched Diadem as reference for Eureka, but we plan for it to be completely different character and item development content. The greatest difference would be that the theme for Eureka is exploration and growth. Everything else is still a secret.
Okay, here's the problem I kind of have with that, okay? Because he asked, what key differences and what functions. Yoshi didn't say anything about mechanics in that, so that could very well still include fates.
Oh, no, please.
It could. I'm not saying that it will, but from what I got from that answer, that did not discount mechanics from Diadem showing up in Eureka.
So, I mean, let's hang on this for a second and dissect it, because he says that the greatest difference would be that the theme for Eureka is exploration and growth. And we've also heard that whatever the next relic weapon will be, will end up being tied to Eureka.
Nero, too. Something else that jumps out here, too, because he does mention item development, but he also says completely different character and item development.
Right.
Which the only other place that addresses any kind of character development outside of, just leveling up in armor is Deep Dungeon. So might they be taking elements from Deep Dungeon as well?
I mean, if they... that's not the worst
for your job specific stuff.
Yeah, that may be true. I don't know. I mean, it does sound like they have set aside Eureka to serve a completely separate function from what Diadem serves as. And I mean, I don't know what that.
What is that?
What is that? Fuck.
What? I don't hear it.
Sounds like an alarm going off.
Sounds like an arcade or an alarm.
Somebody just hit the jackpot. Someone's got a Meeseeks.
What was that? Was weird.
Someone has a really good game of pachinko going on.
I don't know what that is. Okay. Anyway, so if they combined elements of Palace of the Dead and elements of Diadem, would it even work?
I don't know. The more I look over this question, what it reminds me the most of is how Abyssia functioned back in FF11.
Oh, don't even say that. You're going to get people to bail out.
I'm just saying,
let's go back to that.
It changed a lot of stuff.
By the way...
That noise, it was the Coast Guard. They were pulling someone over.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
By the way, for those that don't know, the studio is right next to a river.
For dumping purposes.
Don't mention that on the show.
Don't say it out loud. Anyway... But yeah, the studio's right next to the river, and that just happened. That's
Yeah, the
crazy.
Coast Guard.
That's apparently the noise that the Coast Guard made.
Guarding the coast.
I cannot imagine being pulled over by the Coast Guard.
I've seen it happen a couple of times.
Because it
That's weird.
definitely sounded like Pac-Man, right?
Yes, that's
Yes.
exactly what I thought it was. I was like, who brought the arcade machine? Like, where's the arcade cab? Let's plug some
play some
quarters in.
Pac-Man, yeah.
Let's do that.
Next question. You've often expressed concerns about adding set bonuses on gear to difficulty in maintaining job balance or players making set bonuses mandatory for content. Have you considered set bonuses that offer cosmetic effects instead of stat bonuses? An example would be slightly enhancing or changing the animation of a skill, or perhaps giving off an aura when all the pieces are worn together.
We've heard this suggestion before, which is, I think, a great
A
suggestion.
little bit of Diablo stuff there.
Yeah, a little bit.
He says, recently I have been more optimistic about adding set bonuses to high-level raid gear, as it seems that it will greatly contribute to the player's motivation to get through all of the tiers of raid.
Shut the fucking door.
I know, right?
Who would have thought?
However, if we are to implement this feature, I believe it would be only for the highest difficulty
That
of
is
raids.
okay.
Yeah.
That is okay
Oh my
with
god.
me.
He gets it. He really gets it.
Wait, hang on. I don't, maybe not. He may have accidentally stumbled onto it, but this is great. Keep thinking like this. No, that's really smart. I think that's really smart and insightful, and starts to address some of the complaints that we've had about things like glory gear for a long time.
Yeah, well,
Okay,
just the thing-
but the problem is that I'm a casual player and I want to have those
No,
cool
you
set
shut up.
bonuses.
You go-
Okay.
Fuck yourself.
I can't dedicate the time to
No,
raiding,
I
but
don't
I can do
care.
the casual normal mode. So
I don't wanna
please
hear it.
add the set bonuses to the normal grade gear.
We have talked about the fact that no one checks your gear when they see they don't care. If you had that
No one.
awesome glow effect or something on
Yes.
your gear, hell yes.
Along with the set bonuses.
And then when they're like, wait, why are you glowing? And then they check it and then you have this awesome set bonus.
Yes.
Yes.
I hope he does get it. I really do. I want to.
Did you finish the?
Yeah, he followed.
Okay.
He follows up. It is also possible to offer graphical effects to it as well, but that may interfere with the enjoyment of dressing up in the game, so that's a hard decision to make. So, glamour.
All right, okay, but if it
I
comes
feel
down
like
to
if
these
you decide
two,
not to glamour the entire set, it should just have a glow. But if you glamour it, then
Yeah.
you're giving up the glow.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you get the full set of relic, you should wear that. Should be your glamour. Wear that.
Yeah.
You've got the full relic set.
And it glows if you have it all glamored.
but
yeah,
if it comes down to the set bonuses or the glow, we'll take the set bonuses.
Absolutely.
Fuck you. We'll take the glow.
No, give me the set bonuses.
Can we have
I want
both?
a bonus for having cleared all stages of raid.
The Allied Beast Tribe quests in both A Realm Reborn and Heaven's Ward are both wonderful. Would it ever be possible to bring all of the Beast Tribes together for a quest? Oh my.
Thank you for enjoying the Allied Beast Tribe quests. These quests are fun to make for us too, so I would like for them to continue, but I do think that a cutscene featuring all the Beast Tribes would be enormous. Laughs. Ha 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 ha. I won't say that we don't plan on doing anything like that, but we are currently creating the quest lines for the new tribes at the moment. Once these have been completed, it may be good to explore the interactions between the different beast tribes a bit more in depth. Absolutely, I'd like to see some interplay between the beast tribes.
Actually, what would be really cool is maybe not even this expansion, maybe next expansion, because I figure when we go against Garlemald, right, everybody has to be in on that. And what if the new city is all races, just a big amalgamation, so everyone
Amalgamation.
is there. Yeah.
Amalgamation.
I love the idea that we get all of the beast tribes together.
Amalgamation.
Amalgamation.
Amalgamation. That's the word I found.
Aluminium.
But yeah, just everyone's
Garage.
there. Like every single race, every single nation, every beast tribe, everyone is represented there. I think that'd be really
Dude,
cool.
I love the idea that we get all the beast tribes together. They all summon their primals and go and attack Garlemald, and all the Garleans are sitting there see, we were right. We knew this was what was coming. We knew it all along. Damn it.
Oh, man.
And the final question, Stormblood is going to see the implementation of swimming and diving into the game. While there will be no underwater combat, has the team considered using swimming diving in dungeons or other instanced
that'd be
content?
kinda cool.
Such as needing to swim through deadly areas or swimming to escape a boss mechanic.
That's interesting.
He says there are several pieces of content planned that will involve players swimming as a method of transportation. However, we haven't gotten around to creating specific gameplay elements that incorporate swimming. This was the same for flying, but if we do end up using swimming in this fashion, then we would need to create content specifically designed for swimming, or else it wouldn't be as fun. The FF14 development team is currently in the planning stages for the 4.x patch series, while also working on creating a massive amount of content for Stormblood. But if we come up with a good idea while working on all the new content, something utilizing swimming may be realized for future content.
Blitzball.
And that was the last question. He says he thanks Mr. Happy for his time and for the email interview and for his continued support of the game.
And I don't know. I mean, there's definitely some interesting responses in there.
There is a few sparks of hope.
A little bit.
That they're going to be extinct.
That, yes, when Stormblood comes, they will
They would be
proceed
snuffed
to...
out.
Yeah.
Hopefully not. Let's go to our phone lines. We've got